This is Skip from Kalena, and I'm going to demonstrate for you just one of the many ways Restructured makes financial document analysis fast, accurate, and intuitive. You'll see that in just a few short minutes. I'll transform some loose documents, in this case 10K annual finance disclosures from Fortune 500 companies, into a structured table with information, and then I'll leverage that information to have the AI generate a report with investment recommendations based on all of that information. So to get started, I'm going to be in the role of a risk analyst, a financial risk analyst, and I'm going to be able to complete the analysis that I need to do for my job a lot faster, many times faster than it would take for me to do this manually, parsing the documents on my own. You can see here that we've uploaded some of these 10K financial forms. These are forms required by the SEC, the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission, by companies in order to disclose key risks, revenue, all kinds of financial disclosures. These are documents that I've just uploaded directly from my machine. You can see here that we can select any kind of unstructured file. In this case, these are all PDFs. I've just uploaded these. These are from a public data set for different companies. I've uploaded several of these files from 2022 for each of these companies in the tech sector. Now, as soon as we upload these files, Restructured will automatically begin parsing them for their information. So I'm going to go ahead and click into one of these documents, take a closer look at this. We can see here, this is basically what Restructured has extracted. It's basically the text of the original PDF. It's all the same information without some of the PDF formatting. But we can see here that it's automatically suggesting some fields to extract. So I'm going to say, okay, let's go ahead and extract the company name, and let's go ahead and extract the form type. And those are going to be automatically extracted by Restructured. And we can see now that it's automatically extracted this company name and the form type. We can go ahead and go back to the table just to show that this has now been done for each of the documents in my data set. So I'll come back in here, and sticking with this example of risk analysis, we want to know some more interesting information relevant to our use case, and we can tell Restructured what to extract based on this use case. So in this case, I'm going to come up to extract new property, and this will give us a chance to specify exactly what we want to extract. First thing I want to know is, what is the revenue growth reported by this company, Apple in this case? We can have it preview, so we'll see exactly what an example of the output will look like before we have it apply the extraction to all documents in the data set. And we can see here that it came up with a value of 8, and if we're wanting to understand where this value came from, that's what this reasoning will show. In this case, it shows that it's using the total net sales, looking at the percentage increase from 2021 to 2022. It shows the calculation that it got there and yields 8%. So the answer of 8% is what's applicable for this particular document. And when we click extract, it'll begin that process for every document in the dataset automatically. So we just specified it one time, and now it's going to extract that for the entire dataset. The next thing I'd like to know is, what is the profit margin? So I'm going to go ahead and do the same process. I'm just going to say, go ahead and extract the profit margin. You can see the exact prompt that'll be provided. We can change this if we wanted to be more specific. In this case, this should be sufficient. So I'm going to go ahead and click preview to generate a preview. And we can see here that it's come up with a gross profit margin of 43.3%. If we were to look at this reasoning and decide that it wasn't using the proper calculation, we could provide a more specific set of instructions here. But since this is good, I'm going to go ahead and say, go ahead and apply this extraction to the entire data set. Now that I have some of these quantitative metrics extracted, what I want to do is take a look at all of my documents again, and I want to filter down from my risk analysis. I'm looking for what might be a good investment. So what I want to know is, I want to filter into companies have both positive revenue growth and positive profit margins. Go ahead and click submit. Restructured is going to automatically generate a SQL query and apply that for me. So now we're looking at just those companies that have both positive revenue growth and positive profit margins. If we're curious about exactly what it did, this is the SQL query that it generated, so we can see exactly what it used, the criteria that it applied, and now we're working with that subset of the data here. Now, since we're thinking about risk analysis here, what I want is more than just these quantitative metrics. I want to get a little bit more information about what these companies are reporting as far as the risks for the market, for operational dependencies, and things like that. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm just going to close this chat window for a minute. I'm going to extract a new property. Same thing as before, but now I'm going to provide specific instructions. So I'm going to go ahead and call this market risks. And the instructions that I'm going to provide are summarize as a bullet point list the end in the report, that is just a form that was filed by the company. Go ahead and click preview. We can see here that it's now generated a summary bullet point list of the market risks mentioned across the report. So dependence on global and regional economic conditions, risks associated with international operations, credit and collectability risks, etc. And that's for one of these documents, but now we're going to go ahead and have this extraction instruction applied to all documents in the dataset. We can also extract summaries another way by giving explicit instructions to summarize. And in this case, all we have to do is provide a keyword. So what I want to know now is about operational dependencies that are mentioned across the report. We can specify how long we want this summary to be. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to make this a short summary. Go ahead and click preview here. Now what we can see is a brief summary of the operational dependencies that were in this 80-page long report. Restructured has taken all of that information, scanned it for us, looked for these keywords, and generated a summary with a short length that we specified. And I'm going to go ahead and apply this to all documents in the dataset. I've now come back to the table of this filtered set of documents that we were looking at, and we can see that in addition to these quantitative metrics that we extracted at the beginning, we now also have these bullet point summaries of market risks and operational dependencies. And these are for each of the companies that we're looking at. So we can very quickly, we've gone from just these raw documents, I'm going to go ahead and clear this filter, just these raw documents, just, PDF files with this particular format, and we've had it Restructured automatically extract this information, both quantitative using calculations, and then also summarizing across the entire document into a concise form that makes analysis much faster, much easier than it would take for me as an analyst, or whatever my role is, for me to be doing this on my own. Now, with all this extracted information, what we can do is just start asking questions directly of the data now that we have these extractions. So I'm just going to go ahead and use natural language here. And we can ask questions like, which companies show the strongest financial health based on the revenue growth and profit margins that we extracted? And we can see that it's telling us that the companies that show the strongest financial health based on those two factors are Adobe and Microsoft. Let's ask another question. Let's say we would like to know what are the most commonly mentioned risks across all the companies. It's going to use this market risks column that we've extracted here. And now we've got a report of some of the common market risks here. These are all tech companies, so if I'm an analyst looking at risks for the tech sector broadly, I can very quickly get a sense for that by just uploading all of these individual company documents, but it's now giving me a sector-wide perspective on all of this. Very useful. And we aren't limited to just these individual questions. We can have it create an entire summary report based on all of this extracted information. And because we've extracted this information into this structured format, Restructured is going to do a much better job than a typical RAG system would if it were just using the document context without any of these extractions. So to illustrate that, I'm going to provide this more complete prompt here. I'm just going to expand the size of this window here. What I'm asking is to create a summary report including the key risks per company, comparative financial metrics, aggregated industry trends, and then some recommendations for investment. Go ahead and click submit there. It's going to go ahead and start generating that. So we can see here it's generating this report for us. So we're getting a breakdown of these market risks, these operate for each of these companies in the data set. We can basically use this as part of our decision making, as part of our final analysis to help me accomplish my tasks that I have as a risk analyst in this case, but whatever I'm trying to do. We've got these comparative financial metrics here ready for me to go. We're looking at these aggregated industry trends. We're getting some recommendations for investment. And I was able to do all of this from just a loose set of PDFs in really just several minutes here, not very long at all. If I were to do this on my own, I would probably still be reading the first document. So that's the power of Restructured and what it enables you to do. Thanks for watching.